G'day and welcome to the final pack. Return to Mirkwood. Oh my god, it's finally over. It turned up. I'm so excited. I also got the latest Call of Cthulhu. Sweet. And filled the very remaining holes in my Call of Cthulhu sets. So now I have everything in Call of Cthulhu except Dreamlands, because I don't want to buy tons and tons of packs because it's not re-released in the new format yet. But anyway, enough of that. Return to frickin' Mirkwood, baby. Dying for this. Now, I only just uploaded my last video because I've been so busy with the Lackey plugin. But that's up there as well now. I'm going to try and get this up very quick as well. But it's interesting to note that while this one is being done in like today, basically this week, just before Christmas, about a week before Christmas. But I actually had that other one for about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks on my editing folder before I'd even, actually put it all together to give to you guys. Okay, so anyway, enough of that. Turn to Mirkwood. Let's have a look at the... Boom! We've got all of them. That's a stupid ad. Should be a Darradelf ad. Okay, so what have we got here? Difficulty 7. And there is a single rule set for guarding Gollum. If I move this down a little bit. Can we see that? During the quest, players are instructed to guard the Gollum objective card. At the beginning of the game, the players choose one player to guard Gollum. This player places a Gollum objective card in front of him to represent he is guarding it. Various effects in the encounter and quest deck, as well as the effects on the Gollum card itself, interact with the player who is guarding Gollum. Once a player is guarding Gollum, that player cannot relinquish the responsibility to another player unless a card text allows, or in some cases mandates. The text on Gollum objective itself, blah blah blah. The Gollum objective has hit points, and it is possible that he will be destroyed during the quest. If Gollum is destroyed or leaves play for any reason, the players have lost the game. Gollum cannot be used to attack, defend, or commit to a quest. Otherwise, Gollum is considered an allied character under the control of the player guarding him. Card effects that affect allies do affect him, in any attachment that can be played on an ally can be played upon Gollum. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward stuff. Basically, we have this character, this quest card, or so, whatever, that we guard. So it goes to one player. That one player has to guard it, and yeah, I mean, that's very, very simple. And he works as an ally, so healing effects, for example, will happen. Actually, there was one thing. Let me just read that again. Objective card in front of him represents going the various once the player's going that player. Yeah, no, you can still quest. I think that's just a cursory. I mean, I'll have to read the rules properly, but I'm pretty sure you can still quest with him, even if you are guarding. Not quest with Gollum himself, but quest. Okay, let's stick this here. Let's get out some of my dragon shields, and let's go. So, number 1, we have Dane Ironfoot, Dwarf Hero. 1, 2, 3 defense. Now, we all know what a freaking wall Denethor is with 3 defense, and he only has 4 hit points. Or has it got 3? I can't remember, but he doesn't have 5. 5 hit points with a defense of 3? That's pretty insane. While Dane Ironfoot is ready, dwarf characters get +1 will and +1 attack. Okay, so, well, I mean, like I said, +3 defense is fantastic. He's only got 1 will, so you're not going to be tapping him to go into questing. So what are we really looking at here? His ability, and his ability at the moment doesn't thrill me. I mean, we do know that the dwarf deck is coming, and there's going to be a lot of dwarfs in the coming expansion. So maybe once that has come out, his ability will be a lot more appealing. But even without that ability, the 3 defense and 5 hit points does make this card extremely playable as just a solid blocker. I mean, get a couple of marks on this guy and he's what? 5 defense. Okay, so it's into that. Okay, so Duodane's Signal. Okay, this is the last, I believe, of the Duodane chain of cards, and this one, attached hero gains Sentinel, which is obviously the last real effect. I mean, we had range last time, and I think that's a very, very good card. I actually think I prefer this to the ranged, but the ranged is good as well. But the thing is, these Duodane cards are extremely powerful. I mean, there's no denying it. They're very, very powerful cards. But the thing is, there are so many of them now that they completely dilute your deck if you overuse them. I mean, there's nothing worse than having a hand full of, Duodane stuff and then nothing to put them on, or not being able to cast them. I mean, they only cost 1, but I'm just saying, people are starting to rely on these too heavily. Similar to songs, people are relying so heavily on songs for their color splashes, and people are relying so heavily on their Duodanes to get their attack power and defense up, using weaker heroes that have more fancy abilities. So it's just something to keep an eye on. And here we have Dawn Take You All. Play after shadow cards have been dealt, before any attacks have resolved. Okay, combat action. Each player may choose and discard 1 face-down shadow card from an enemy with which is he engaged. Okay, well, this is a good card. I like this card. I was talking about, actually, in my last video about the Dead Marshes, how there is not actually that many ways to control the shadow deck at this time, and I was hoping more shadow affecting cards are going to come out. Thing is, this is a card kind of like Campfire Tales, where it becomes more powerful the more players you have. Okay? So, each player may choose and discard 1 face-down shadow card from an enemy from which he is engaged. Okay? So, if I'm playing solo, it's 2 mana to discard 1 shadow card. If I'm playing 2-player, it's 2 mana to discard 2 shadow cards. So that should be taken into account. Apart from that, this is a good card. This is the kind of card where you won't actually be using it that often. Like in most situations, that 2 mana can be spent in better situations. But if you are in a situation where there's a really powerful monster on the table and it's the only monster you're fighting, why not use this? This could really destroy it. Of course, you have the chance of it hitting a dead card, but there are other ways. I mean, there's Dark Knowledge, I think it's called, allows you to peek at the shadow card, and this would obviously combo very, very well with Dark Knowledge. More eagles, bash, smacks into the camera. More eagles. Eagles of the Misty Mountains. Eagles of the Misty Mountains cannot have restricted attachments. Eagles of the Misty Mountains gets +1 attack and +1 defense for each face-down attachment it has. Face-down attachment, what's that? Response. After another eagle character leaves play, you may attach that card face down to Eagles of the Misty Mountain. Interesting, it's kind of like a flocking mechanic. I've seen this in other games, but not quite done in the same way, but often you see flocking mechanics on bird creatures in card games. So the more birds you have, the more they, can combine to make a larger bird, which acts as one, which is, flock. But anyway, interesting. So +1 attack, +1 defense, it already starts with 2 of each. So this is a very, very good card. It's got 4 hit points as well. Interesting, the non-restricted attachments is interesting. So I think that'll definitely have to be... Okay, there is something kind of bizarre here. After another eagle character leaves play. Now that can mean move back into your hand, like if you Born Aloft an eagle, or if you sneak attack. So sneaking attack, doing a sneak attack on Descendant of Thorondor, for example, will put 4 damage on something, and also add +1 attack, +1 defense to this card. That is crazy. Born Aloft, similar. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff with this card, very powerful. Oh, I'm out of things. Okay, so we have another eagle-ish looking card, but it's not actually an eagle card. Support of the Eagles. It is an attachment attached to Tactics Hero. Exhaust the support of the Eagles to choose an Eagle ally. Until the end of the phase, attached hero adds that ally's attack and defense, choose 1, to its own. Wow, that is insane. Man, the Eagle deck is looking pretty powerful nowadays. That's crazy. Very, very powerful card. I mean, what's to say about this? I mean, just think about some of the Eagles. Isn't there a +3 attack Eagle that disappears every time you attack? But why you wouldn't need to attack? You can just use it as a basically, like imagine it like you're riding that Eagle as like a horse, and it's giving you that 3 attack. Then there's that other Eagle, which is +4 defense, but costs 1 resource every time it defends. Well, stuff that. Now you can add +4 defense to your hero and basically make your hero completely immune. I mean, that card is crazy, ridiculously powerful. Can't wait to use it. West Road Traveller. Okay. After you play West Road Traveller from your hand, switch to the active location with any location in the staging area. Okay, so interesting card. I'm not really sure exactly how useful this card will be. Unfortunately, the locations really haven't been that interesting in this game yet. The location and the travel phase has definitely been the biggest letdown of the game so far. I mean, nothing really happens. And of course, with cards like Northern Tracker, for example, the majority of the time you don't even travel to them. I mean, why ever travel to them? But that being said, we have seen some, I think it's Signs of Gollum, the Signs of Gollum, which is the one where you got Signs of Gollum. Is that Hunt for Gollum? Anyway, one of the Gollum ones, right? There's a type of card which keys off the location type Riverland and affects all Riverland locations in the staging area. So they are starting to make the location cards combo and synergize with each other and other effects, and it might become very, very important to control what is in the staging, what is in the travel location, because that, of course, does completely affect what happens, because the staging area usually has different effects to the traveled location. So while this card has a lot of utility and I can see it being useful, at the moment I'm not quite sure how useful it's going to be. We'll have to see what other cards come out in later packs. But for now, not really that cool, I don't think. Okay, what have we got here? Astonishing Speed. Until the end of the phase, all Rohan characters get +2 will. Okay, well, this is a sort of interesting card. Everyone gets +2 will. I mean, you can't really complain about that. I mean, you need a Rohan deck, of course. So, yeah. Interesting card. Nothing really exciting about it, though. Will it have uses? I'm sure it will. But, like I said, we know that there's going to be lots of awesome dwarves coming out in Khazad-dûm. So, Rohan decks might be falling by the wayside. Okay, Mirkwood Runner. And this is a Sylvan Scout. Now, I never used to pay attention, but after Dead Marshes and that card came out that gives you plus, like every time this guy taps, it heals itself. Untaps, it heals itself. Seriously, keep an eye. Anything that sells Sylvan is a lot more impressive to me now. Okay, let's have a look at his ability. While Mirkwood Runner is acting alone, the defending enemy does not count its defense. What the hell does acting alone mean? I guess that means if he's tacking alone, they don't count their defense. Is that what it means? Because that is insane. I'm going to have to look this card up. That can't be right. Okay, so I've looked it up. No one says anything about this. So the way I read this is while Mirkwood Runner is acting alone, the defending enemy does not count its defense. So I read that as if the card is attacking by itself without being assisted, no defense, which is insanely powerful. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine how powerful that is. That's probably one of the most powerful cards I've seen in ages for combat. Like, absolutely stunning. I mean, I seriously think I'm misunderstanding this card because it seems too powerful. I mean, seriously, you get a couple of marks on this. It's not uncommon. Like, I've got a couple of mates of mine. We play 3-player games, and we run, 9 in a 3-player game. We might run 9 marks. That's like +9 attack. Plus, there's the axes. Seriously, I mean, you could get this guy to basically one-shot any creature in the game. All you need is a powerful draw deck to pull out the marks. That's insane. That can't be right. I'll have to look that up. What is this? Rumour of the Earth, 0 cost lore. Look at the top card of the encounter deck, then you may pay 1 lore resource to return Rumour of the Earth to your hand. Well, that is beyond awesome, that card. Yeah, that's going in my deck regardless. Bang, that's going. I mean, you're running this in a Denethor or an Eleanor deck, you should be running this card. End of story. This could definitely replace Riversong, whatever that guy is that can scry the encounter deck. Or you can use them in conjunction with, so you have a 6 chance draw to pull out a card like this out of your deck. Either way, I think this will be replacing that guy completely. Well, I guess he does have +1 will, but yeah, this is an extremely powerful card. Excellent. Ooh, what the hell's this? Is that a treachery? No, it's an... Oh, it's a neutral event. Interesting. I was wondering if we were going to start seeing more neutral cards that weren't just, you know, these attachments and things. Even though neutral attachments makes a lot of thematic sense. Shadow of the Past. Action. Move the top card of the encounter discard pile to the top of the encounter deck. Wow. You know, this is also an extremely good card. The only problem is that I can't see a way off the top of my head to really combo it. You know, like basically you can use it and that's it. You know, you've got 3 chances to draw it, 3 chances to use it. But still, with some decent control of the encounter deck, you will be able to determine exactly what shadow cards get dealt to your creatures, or exactly what cards get dealt during your questing phase. This would be very, very good in single player because you'll be able to know exactly what's coming out. In 2 or 3 player, of course, you'll still have other cards which you are unaware of coming out. But yeah, controlling what goes on to the shadow card, and remember you've got that, you know, that card we just looked at. I can't remember its name now. You know, Ear to the Ground or some shit. So you can know what's coming next, so you know whether to use it even. I think this is a very interesting card. It doesn't cost any, you know, it's neutral as well, which means it can come from all your hero pools. That's a very awesome card. Love it. And that's it. That is it for the player decks. Oh yeah, baby. Okay, let's get started on the quest. Okay, what are we? Starting with 1A. Having captured Gollum, you must now escort him through Mirkwood Forest for interrogation at Theandril's palace. Search the encounter deck for Gollum, choose a player to guard Gollum from the start of the game, and place Gollum in front of that player. Then shuffle the encounter deck, reveal 1 card per player from the encounter deck, and add it to the staging area. Okay, nothing really fancy in that. 1B, 12-point quest. It's a long way home, it looks like, and nothing special happens here. Mirkwood is always a dangerous place, but it is even worse with Gollum. Between the outbursts, tantrums, and the flying provisions, you are not afforded a moment's peace. Poor Gollum, you get such a bad rap, mate. Okay, so that's 1A. 2A. Nothing on 2A. As soon as he thinks that no one is watching, Gollum attempts to slip his bonds and escape. This is only a 3-point quest, so very, very quick to quest through here. The player guarding Gollum cannot commit characters to this quest unless he is the only player remaining in the game. If the players quest unsuccessfully, Gollum escapes and the players have lost the game. Whoa, that's pretty full on. So 1 mistake and you're dead at 2B. So suddenly that event card that adds +2 willpower to every Rohan is looking a little bit cooler to be able to save you from those certain disasters. Okay, so 3A, nothing. Having thwarted Gollum's escape attempt, you tighten the rope and push on through Mirkwood to Theandril's palace. So there it is, finally. 3B, 7. The player guarding Gollum cannot play cards from his hand. Okay. We all know how frustrating such things are in Escape from Goldor when you can't play stuff. So I think that initial choice, I mean, it's said in the rules that there are cards that change who is the controller of Gollum. But yeah, it seems that choosing the correct person to have to be guarding Gollum is quite important in this quest. And lastly, 4A. As you make the final push to Thranduil's palace, your enemies make a desperate attempt to ambush you and your party and seize Gollum for themselves. Poor guy, everyone wants a piece of Gollum. Okay, this is another only 2 in this course. At the beginning of the combat phase, all enemies in play engage the player guarding Gollum. Whoa. Players cannot defeat this stage if there are any enemies in play. If players defeat this stage, they have won the game. Okay, so wow, that's pretty intense. But I think if you have good board control, and you probably should by the end of 4B, then you might be able to breeze through these last kind of things. There's not a lot, except for the not being able to play cards in 3. There's not a lot of tricky stuff on these quest cards. Still, pretty cool. Gollum himself. Let's see if they've got better art this time. The last Gollum art I wasn't too fond of. Yeah, much better. Damage from undefended attacks against you must be dealt to Gollum. If Gollum is destroyed, or if the player guarding Gollum is eliminated, the players have lost the game. Forced. At the end of each round, raise the threat of the player guarding Gollum by 3. Then that player may choose a new player to guard Gollum. Okay, so at the end of each round, you can choose a new player to hold Gollum. So that not playing cards effect isn't quite as bad. The +3 threat every turn is pretty hardcore. But then again, monster control is not going to be that much of an issue anyway, because they all aggro you at the end of the game anyway. Now, what is interesting is undefended attacks against you must be dealt to Gollum. Next, location. Oh no, yeah, location. The Spider's Ring. Okay, it's only 2 to, quest pass. That of course means that it should be easy to track away with the tracker. While the Spider's Ring is the active location, the player guarding Gollum cannot change. Well, really, this doesn't really worry me. Not only can you get rid of it very, very quickly with tracker, its effect isn't really that annoying, apart from the threat gain from Gollum, of course. Dry Watercourse, 2/2. While Dry Watercourse is the active location, all Treachery card effects that target the player guarding Gollum also target each other player. Again, it's only 2. Why do we even need to travel here? What is the point? Tracker just completely changes that whole travel thing. I mean, why would we ever need to travel here? It only affects us if it's the active location. We need more landscapes that have effects while in the staging area. Seems to be a lot of locations. I guess it's a long way home. Another 2/2. Travel. The player guarding Gollum must exhaust a hero he controls to travel to Woodman's Glade. That's alright. After exploring Woodman's Glade, reduce the threat of each player not guarding Gollum by 2. Well, that's a very nice card. We want to see that more often. And of course we have that neutral card to pull it back out and stick it on the top of the encounter deck. You could do that at a total of 3 times if you had the right hand, which reduces everybody's threat. 9, I mean, that's a crazy little combo right there. Again, you don't need to travel there. It's only 2 quest progress tokens to get rid of, and remember the explored location, anything is explored once it's got all the progress tokens. You don't need, you actually trigger the explored keyword even if you solve these while they're in the staging area, so that effect will happen even with tracker. So once again, tracker looks to be able to basically break this quest. I might do a demo game with no trackerless. Let's see if I can actually beat these quests without it. Wood Elf Path, 1/3. Response. After the players travel to Wood Elf Path, the player guarding Gollum may choose a new player to guard him. Okay, well that's a pretty cool card. It has a nice effect, which is why it's only got 1 in the staging area, which means that it's sort of designed to say, okay, there's other things I would prefer to travel to, but of course no one's going to travel anywhere because we've got trackers. So yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, the beloved Treachery cards. This one is Gollum's Anguish. When revealed, raise the threat of the player guarding Gollum by 8. That player must choose a new player to guard Gollum if able. Shadow, raise the threat of the player guarding Gollum by 4. That is by 8. How many of them are there? There's 2. That's pretty hardcore. Luckily, like I said in one of my other videos, I almost exclusively run Eleanor in every single setup I have. I don't care that there's that rule change that makes her draw a new card. Stuff that. She is absolutely awesome. You know, you just make sure, just don't assign her the quest. You always have her tapped out, use it for defense, or, you know, a bit of attack if you mark her up. But you just have that option. Any card comes out that's a treachery you don't like, boom, tap, and it's gone. Get something else in place of it, but man, it's gone. And you'd be surprised at how little I care about treachery cards. I mean, sure, you get some treachery cards in a row, you know, like you cancel one and then you get a new one. Sure, I mean, it does happen. I mean, you still have to deal with treachery cards, but not nearly as much as you would think. Okay, Gollum's Bite. Nice. When revealed, this is called a Tantrum. Nice. When revealed, deal 4 damage to a hero controlled by the player guarding Gollum. That player must choose a new player to guard Gollum if able. 4 damage. Wow. Deal 2 damage to the hero controlled as a shadow card. You know, 4 damage kills almost every single hero in the game. There are the 5 damage heroes. Again, Song of Mocking or Frodo. Seriously, Frodo is just so awesome. This is the last of the Treacheries. The Treacheries have been particularly bad in this set, I must admit. This one is called Wasted Provisions. When revealed, destroy the top 10 cards from the deck. Discard the top 10 cards in the deck of the player guarding Gollum. That player may choose a new player to guard the Gollum if able. Shadow, discard the top 5. Okay, so discard isn't as bad in this game as in other games. The fact that you can Will of the West and actually put it onto other players, you can dig it out again with tombs, means that discarding isn't quite the bone-crushing defeat that it is in a lot of other games, but still, there's nothing more demoralizing than dumping out 10 cards in this case and just seeing some absolute game-changing awesome cards going to the graveyard. Again, I think the Treacheries have actually been quite vicious in this game. Okay, first of the creatures, more bats. Okay, what have we got here? 22-1-1-1-1. Okay, it's a typical bat. It's got Surge. It's kind of like crows, I guess. Forced. After Mirkwood Bats enters... let me start again. Can I speak properly? Thank you. After Mirkwood Bats enter... Oh, God, I still can't speak. Engages. After Mirkwood Bats engages a player, deal 1 damage to each character controlled by the player guarding Gollum. Wow. Well, you definitely need to move Gollum around. That's obviously, you know, a no-brainer after reading through these cards. But, again, I mean, this is like that Eye of Sauron Treachery, but in a encounter card with Surge. In a creature card, sorry, with Surge. So, I mean, what more can you say? Bad stuff. And unlike the Treachery cards, you can't get rid of this. This is the only way to get rid of this is to scry it away with Denethor. And lastly, we have a gigantic spider. It's got a threat of 44. It's got 4 defense. That's insane. 6 and 8. Wow. 8 attack, 4 defense, 6 and 2 threat. Wow, this is a crazy powerful creature. At the beginning of the encounter phase, Atacorp... What? Atacod. What, he's got 2 names. Weird. Hopefully Fellowship of the Cards will tell me what the deal is with this creature, why he's got 2 names. Okay, at the beginning of the encounter phase, Atacorp automatically engages the player guarding Gollum regardless of his threat. So that 44 doesn't mean jack. That's insane. Seriously. He's going to be very, very, very hard to deal with. You want to scry this guy away with Denethor. But of course, if you have that good old Ranger or Quick Strike guy who ignores that 4 defense, he can put on just raw 2 damage every turn. Interesting. Okay, so that is Return to Mirkwood and the end of the entire Mirkwood cycle. Let's have a quick look-ski. There's no surprises what my favourite player card is going to be. Dun, dun, dun. It is this guy, without a doubt. Probably just insanely powerful. I just cannot... I actually think that I must be reading this wrong. He is so powerful. I mean, that is insane. Ignoring defense completely. I mean, we've got marks for attack. We've got marks to add ranged. You know, put ranged on him. Put a couple of marks on him. And boom. This guy would be hitting for like, you know, 6 or something without any worries on a draw deck. And it doesn't even matter how much defense. I mean, look at this guy. This guy has got 4 defense. Normally, that's like, you know, you need to hit him for 5 to do 1 point of damage. But this guy, you know, he hits him for 2. He gets 2 points of damage. It's insane. Insanely powerful card. Now, it came at a very, very close second. Was this one here. In fact, it's so close, and it is also another lore, that I'm just going to leave this one out. This card is absolutely insane as well. Being able to know what's coming in the encounter deck is just beyond powerful. It is an event as well, so it can be played before shadow cards, before questing. I mean, it's really, really insane. And it costs 0, so you can play it multiple times. There's no rule saying you can only play it once. So I can play it during the quest phase, then I can play it during the shadow reveal phase, you know. Play it 2 times a turn. I mean, it's an insanely powerful card. You know, both those cards are incredibly powerful. As for my favourite encounter card, I think I'm going to pick this +8 threat Tantrum. I just love the whole concept of the Tantrum. He has his fit, screaming, bashing his fists into the ground and going blah 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 blah, and of course it raises your threat because it draws all the monsters to you. Just thematically awesome and very, very scary card at the same time. It is a Treachery, so it is. There's many ways you can deal with it, but at the same time, if this one slips through, I mean, it could kill you. I mean, I know people who are regularly running like 32 threat, starting threat decks. I mean, I know that's ridiculous, but a lot of people do. You know? So you run this, you're already at 40. You know? Seriously. You get this like mid-game and it's game over, basically. It kills your entire party. Very, very scary card. Okay, now give me a sec. I'm going to pause it while I have a look for my favourite art. Okay, I'm back, and while I was looking for the best art, I found this card again, which I totally forgot about, which again is ridiculously powerful. I mean, this is an extremely good pack, like the player cards. I mean, there's also, this card is fantastic. This is an extremely good pack for player cards. There's so many good player cards in this pack. Absolutely, shockingly, shockingly good. Oh wait, no, hang on. It's this card. This is the one. This is the one that's ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but extremely good. If you're running an Eagle deck, I mean, this is a must-have. Like I said before when I was talking about it, extremely powerful guard. Pull in that +3 damage. Pull in that +4 defense off that other card, that other Eagle. Ridiculous. Yeah, so, I mean, extremely powerful cards in the player deck for the players in this thing, but I am still going to pick this one as my favourite. But these two are ridiculously powerful. And my favourite art, no surprises, it's another location, and it is just this beautiful, I don't know if that's going to come through. Can we get this to focus? Just beautiful sort of sunlight coming through the trees. You know, it's just awesome, awesome. And it just fits the card so well. You've got the dark shadow at the front and the light path out in the corner, you know, and this lights the way in a way. Excellent card. Right, so that's it. That is Return to Mirkwood and the completion of the entire Mirkwood Cycle. So, yeah. And there it is, the entire packs, all the packs put together. Absolutely awesome. I've been loving this game. Big thanks out to the designers. There's two of them, and I can't remember the names off the top of my head. And a big thanks to FFG, of course, and to all the artists who did the art. Absolutely fantastic, fantastic job. I really hope you do as good a job with the Star Wars game. I'm absolutely hanging to play that. I mean, co-op, solitaire game like Lord of the Rings, but Star Wars, and not only Star Wars, it's the original trilogy, and not the fucking bullshit sequels, prequels, whatever the hell they call them. I mean, yeah, it's just a Star Wars geek's dream. But, except that we can't play Empires, that really blows that we can't actually play the Empire, but because of the format for the Solitaire versus the Encounter deck, I can see why not. But either way, looking forward to that game. And this is the end of this pack. Now, my general consensus is that I really enjoy playing this, but I really did find that it wasn't as difficult as I hoped. While dueling games, you get an unlimited, infinite variety because you're playing with humans. The encounter decks can only do so much. So after a while, you start to get very, very good at them, especially if you are using the ever-growing card pool, which is why I've been trying to devise a restricted rule variant, which I've been talking about on BBG, to actually restrict your card pool. And I'll go into that once it's finalized, but it's coming along and I think it's making a lot of sense. But yeah, favorite quests. Well, I can't really do the favorite quests because I haven't actually played this one yet. But I am actually going to say that probably Journey and Hunt for Gollum are my two favorite quests in the game. Just very, very cool and very, very fun. Conflict at the Crack is a quest that I often use to play with new players if I'm showing them the game. I actually use Conflict at the Crack or Anduin because they're very simple and straight up. You know, you just quest and fight monsters and it's done. It's a very simple quest and it seems very hard, Conflict at the Crack, like when you first start playing, but it actually is one of the easiest in the entire set. I actually would go to say that Conflict at the Crack is actually easier than Passage Through Mirkwood, because Passage Through Mirkwood, while an easy, in inverted commas, quest, has a lot of completely random events that can completely change the outcome, while this is a very standard, very simple. You just build a deck that's low threat and got Dune here in it, and you just win. But yeah, great deck for teaching people the game. A really fun deck with a lot of mechanics. I love, you get the quest cards do so much in this one. You can scry the deck, scry the encounter deck. You pull things out of the encounter card. You know, it's very, very fun to play. And my least favorite is Hills of Evanwild, which seems to be a fairly common thing. I love the art in this one, is fantastic, and I love the concept. It makes completely thematic sense in the progress of the quest, but in reality, you know, you just have Lorien guides and Northern trackers and the game is over before you've even started, because, you know, just completely breaks the game, that those two cards running this thing. So completely boring. I've never lost this one, ever, not once. Journey to Rascabel, obviously. A lot of people complain about this one. For me, it is because the reason why I like it so much and actually put it in my two top favorites is because it is so dependent on reading the encounter deck. I mean, this is one where you have to really use your deck building skills. You really have to think about what you're doing. You can't just blindly quest and defend. You know, there's a lot going on in that quest. I actually think this should be the model for more quests. You know, actually much more complicated. I'd like to see way more complicated quests than we've seen. I want to see quest cards that you pull out that are like side quests, and then you've got to dig out, you know, 2B and 3B from the encounter deck, you know, and going full-on side quest as well. And I think Treachery cards are underused. Treachery cards could flip over And instead of just doing a little thing like, oh, you get 9 threat, like in the ones we just saw, they can completely change the game. Like shuffle another, open up new quest options. I think there's a lot that the rules of this game are capable of doing that haven't really been experimented with. And one of the big things actually is the travel location. That is completely underused, and Northern Tracker completely breaks that phase of the game. So something needs to be done, and the easiest way to do that would be to have stacking effects. There are a few, but have more stacking effects that are triggered while the card is in the staging area. So you don't travel, but if something's in the staging area that needs to get rid of, you get rid of it. All in all, fantastic. I would strongly recommend this entire set. These 3 are definitely the best. I haven't played this one. This one's very, very weak. This one is meh, whatever, not too impressed. But these 2, absolutely fantastic, and this one is very, very good to play with new players. So, they're my opinions. Oh well, I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you next time for Khazad-dûm. Yes! Or Daredevil. I'm not quite sure which one comes out first. I think it's Khazad-dûm. Of Khazad-dûm, because it's so big, I will actually be doing it in split sections. So I'll be doing lore, then I'll be doing spirit, or then tactics, like that. I'll split them into sections instead of doing one video for the whole thing, because it'll be like fucking hours. Okay, so that's it. I will see you another time, guys. Catch you later.